Hi, good evening, everyone. So I hope we have all people here and people are joining. So let's not wait much. So good evening, everyone, and I'm Dr. Ajit Singh, and I welcome you again to this very informative webinar and fruitful. The last session I have seen, it was very much informative, and many people have attended live, and we have seen that our Zoom was full, and there are multiple people, many people were attending on the YouTube. Similarly, today we have a lot of people who are very much interested in CDM, and this area is something which is very good, where we can learn a lot, where we can understand our job opportunities and career opportunities. So, today is our second part of the CDM webinar. In first part, we have discussed about the career opportunities in the CDM. Or knowledgeable, very amazing resource person, Miss Neha Patel. And let me introduce Neha Patel. You guys know Neha, but still, Miss Neha is BPharm and postgraduate diploma in clinical research, and she has extensively worked with several CROs and pharma clients as a clinical data manager for past for over 10 years. She has conducted and led end-to-end data management activities for several studies in close collaboration with the study scientists, site monitors, biostatisticians, and clinical programmers. She was a part of clinical studies in immunology, oncology, rare diseases, and infectious diseases. She completed her Bachelor of Pharmacy from KLE College of Pharmacy, Belgaum, followed by a postgraduate diploma in clinical research from Indian Institute of Clinical Research, Mumbai. She is currently located in United Kingdom, pursuing her MSc in Pharmaceutical Sciences with a specialization in health and disease of physiological symptoms. She has been monitoring and train associates. She has been mentoring and training associates in different countries for several approaches like risk management, vendor management, and team management from a clinical data manager point of view. So, before going to the webinar, I would like to inform you guys that, we have launched our, course on CDM, the clinical data management, that is 3 months course, and, comprehensive course. You must have seen the brochure. We will, share the brochure also. So here, one of the amazing news I want to tell you guys, one of the very, grateful thing that we are completing 3 years of CLIMAD. Okay, we are completing our 3 years of CLIMAD very soon at this end of at the end of this month. So just to inform you here that we are coming up with a great discount on our CDM course. Okay, we are coming up with a huge discount on our CDM course. We have launched with the 20,000, but in 2 or 3 days we'll be sending the emails. Will be coming up with the our new discount prices, and you will get those information with you, right? So before delaying into, I would like to call upon Miss Neha to deliver the session, and then we can discuss further after the webinar. And I would like you to come up and ask as many as questions you can ask, as we did last time in the webinar part 1, and we have asked a lot of questions. We have clarified a lot of queries with Neha. So guys, please ask your questions, clear your doubts, and whatever you have in your mind, please ask Neha. So Neha, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Ajit. And hello, everyone. So I hope everyone can hear me. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, Neha, you are.
All right. Okay, so like Dr. Ajit introduced, so I'm Neha Patel. I have quite a lot of experience in CDM end to end, and I work with at least in India, guys. You guys must be knowing few companies like Cognizant or TCS and Seniors Health. I worked with those before I moved to plan to move to UK. So, and now I'm planning to pursue my further education and head back to CDM market. Of course, I'm going back to the CDM profile. So, okay, so I'll just give you, and before I start sharing my screen, like we have few, I hope we have few crowd who are new to this session, who not might have attended the previous one. So I might be giving an overview about the previous session. And always you can go back to the YouTube link, which Dr. Ajit has already shared for the previous session, and go back and watch all the detailed slides which we had in the workshop if you have missed to watch that. All right, so let me start sharing my screen. Okay, guys, let me know if you can see my.
Yes, it is visible, Neha. Please make it full screen.
Yeah. Okay, is it full screen now, right?
Yeah, it's full screen now.
Okay, so like Dr. Ajit said, this is a part 2 webinar of data management. We covered career opportunities, and we will be further looking into how data management activities goes on. So in little bit detail. So when we have a brochure introduction, you guys know what we are talking about, what we are going to cover in the course, and you have a background about why all those modules are necessary and why we are taking this comprehensive course in detail about clinical data management. All right, so moving to the slides. Okay, so today's agenda will be overview of the previous session, plus we will be covering in detail of data processing and planning in CDM, and how when data management activities start, what DM needs to know, how planning takes place, and obviously it is from DM perspective, how trials are amounts of trial we see globally have increased, and which has led to several DM roles, and how the average salaries sound in various parts of the world. Okay, and then the certification, which the course launch which we have done last thing. So I'll go take you through those things, the modules which are necessary for you to know before you enroll the course, and also we'll have an elaborative Q&A session. Okay, so from the previous, like we covered like what is clinical research. So clinical research is what the researchers are studying, types of research we have in this clinical trials domain, which would be type of medical devices research, and we have trials on human, which we have trials on animals and everything. So it's like a very vast term, which is called clinical research, which is then moved to clinical trial phases, which is dedicated toward the human trial. But before that, it starts from pre-discovery to post-market evaluation, which gives you in detail about exploratory phases like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. Okay, and then we move to the evaluation of the. So if you want to know the details of all these phases, we had quite an introduction about all these phases, which you need to know before you, for the clinical trial phases. Yeah, so you can visit that session, which with the link, I think Dr. Ajit can send you the link again in the chat during this session. And also the evolution of CDM. So how CDM role is evolving with what are the reasons why CDM is now a niche skill rather than just a data entry or just a data review job. So where the data flow, how the data flows, and CDM roles are involved in it. So some part of this section we might be covering in detail in this current session, current webinar, and also the core competencies, job opportunities, and about the CDM certification, which we covered earlier in earlier webinar. So others, we have stakeholders, employers, and organogram. What all stakeholders you need to know, like clinical scientists, biostatisticians, site monitors, and also for the clinical data management point of view, there are several aspects like CDC, clinical data coordinators. So all those stakeholders who are involved in clinical trials and who are in very close touch with the clinical data management. Who are the employers, like pharma companies, contract research organization, and even few universities which has research centers which perform a small clinical trial based on the research the PhD students are doing. They are the major employers of all these are the major employers of data managers. And how the organogram, like from when you start as a fresher, from as a data manager as a fresher, like I should say a very junior associate as a data manager, and how you grow till operational lead or data management head. Okay. We also covered the clinical trial designs, about the set of methods and protocol. And just a minute. Yeah, set of methods and procedures, where we have three types of clinical trial designs, majorly, which is called analytical designs, descriptive designs, and complex designs. So this is a very vast thing to know, but as a data manager, you should know what type of clinical data trial design you are working on before you start working as a data manager. So globally, they are categorized in three forms, and they are subcategorized based on how the trial goes further, how the trial is designed based on the objective of the trial. So it will be interventional, which is further can be randomized or non-randomized. Observational, which will be cross-sectional, case control, or cohort. Descriptive studies are basically made based on the statistical research, case reports, case series, and surveys. And complex studies are, master protocols like umbrella, basket, synthetic arms, platform. So you need not worry about all these technical words, because they might be new to you and you won't be able. So that's what in details, knowing this clinical trial designs will be taking through during the lectures of the course. Okay, so just, I don't know, I'm not seeing the hide option. Anyways, so so how and when does the DM activities start? So here is the more detail about what we spoke about in the first webinar, that what are the DM activities and where all from start from the clinical trial to the end of database log, where all are the DM roles and which different types of DM roles are involved. But when it comes to you that, okay, you are now a data manager, so you should know when the data management activity starts and how it starts, what is the process flow, how it starts. So you need to know that, okay, fine, there is a discussion, there is a team meeting, study team meeting, which takes place, which can be during the setup of the study, which can be during the migration, which can be published during the publish checks, during the interim analysis of the study, and during the database log. So these are the instances where a data manager might be involved. So you might not be a part of the study from the start when you get hired by a company, or when you're assigned a project. We might be in the middle of any study which might go on this stage when there is any update. So how you identify where your role starts? Then if there is a setup, for example, there is a kickoff meeting. So kickoff meeting gives you an idea, okay, there is a study which has come up and you need to start work on it in the collaboration with the whole team. Other than setup, when it is migration, publish check, interim analysis, or database log, those are the stages where data management, the study is already in conduct, or it's already it's already live on the clinical data management system, and there are some changes that client is expecting you, and the data management needs to take care of it. So starting from there, the study team meeting, till they identify who will be working on this study, you will be given the documents if you're part of any of this stage, and who you should know the team who will be leading, who is the lead data manager if you have joined as an associate level, and what other teams you need to be in get in touch with during this update of the protocol. So when there are any changes in the protocol, obviously the changes go in electronic data capture system, okay, CDMS, which we call clinical data management system. So if there is any update, everything starts with all the stakeholders who are involved, so including data management. So you need to know objective of the protocol and the endpoints, what they want to achieve in the protocol, if there is any change in objective or endpoints, or if there is any change in any CRFs or visit structures and follow-ups. So these are a few examples which I have put the very simpler words here because you might not be knowing the complicated technicalities of the protocol. So these are the simple instances which I told. Even when it is set up, you need to know what are the objectives and endpoints and ECRF visits and follow-ups. So for this particular process, when it starts, you need to know what all documents are required, what all personnel are involved, and how you should read the protocol and how you can take it further. If you have any questions, you can within the team, what you should ask. So if you know all these things, you can read out things logically, you can relate the things far more better way, right? So next, when it comes to the next, after when you know, okay, this timeline is coming, this activity is coming where DM part takes part. Okay, so what next you need to know is the document. So main document is either it is a draft protocol, which if the study is in setup, or if it is a protocol amendment, if there is a change in the protocol from the previous version. So it can happen in setup and conduct. Like draft, it is a setup stage. The protocol amendment is a conduct stage. So you need to know as a data manager what all changes are there and where you need to look into it. The details of this I will be taking you toward the next slides of on this topic. All right. And the next will be the timelines and changes and updates. This is, guys, very important to understand the timelines as a data manager. So they will, any team which works on the study is give you the timeline. So you should have a nice understanding about the timelines, which is also important from the data management point of view, that how you assess that, okay, this task will be done during this time, because every timeline has an overlap with other stakeholders. Like timelines are overlapping with the programming team, with the clinical team, with the site people who are doing, with the testing you will be doing. So it should be, you should have a very nice understanding before you say that, okay, we can achieve this or we cannot achieve this, and what all challenges we have. So you need to analyze what all changes have taken place in the protocol, how it can work. You have to check with the programmer that how complicated it is, how easier it is to achieve. And these timelines are a part of all the stages in the clinical trial, like setup, migration, publish check. Publish check is only one check, which you don't have to do migration. And just there are some updates on the check logics, interim analysis and database log. Okay, and everything eventually, after when we understand everything, there should be a team agreement on the timelines, on the changes, and how we are proceeding further when we kickstart the activity, be it the setup activity or any of the protocol amendment activity. So there should be a team agreement about everything, how the communications will go, how you're going to frequently meet the other team members, how you're going to email them or provide the status about the activity ongoing while we approach the timeline. All right. So this particular activity, from now you narrow down it to a DM point of view. So this is only the DM team now. So how the data processing and planning will go place. So it starts with the study team. So it is a study team, it's a data management team who. So you need to speak, you will in collaboration will be working. It won't be sometimes there are DM roles which are individual contributor also in these days you have individual content. So end-to-end only one data manager can take care of any milestone or any study if it is a smaller study which is manageable by single individual, right? So you need to know the study team. You need to decide what times you will be starting the work, what are the work delegation, who will be checking what, and if they are understanding the protocol very well. So lead data manager usually is involved in gathering all the associates and make an understanding, a common understanding, what are the changes are about, and what you need to know during this particular protocol amendment or any DM activities which has to be started. Okay, so I am taking so if you might think that there is too much to do, but no, these are like small steps and they happen with time. They don't happen all the, I mean, all together. They are like stepwise they happen. So you need to know, okay, fine, yeah, you have heard about this thing. So if you are as a fresher, if you're new to clinical data management, you should know who your team is, or if you understand well when you can ask the questions. So when there is a study team meeting about any changes, you can approach the data team lead. If you are yourself not a data team lead, you can approach them, you can discuss them, you can communicate, and if you don't understand what are the changes going on, so you discuss all those things. And based on which, if your activities will be during the, you might be doing a testing, or you might be looking into the database log, you might be looking into specification updates. So based on that, you will be assigned a work, and there are lots of activities which take place during every step of in each study and every change, or even for the monthly deliverables. Okay, that we will again take you to the next slide. And then about protocol summary, like I earlier mentioned, that for the protocol summary, you should be knowing protocol summary as a data management, not whole protocol, but you should understand what is that protocol about, what is the trial design, what is the subject count, what is the objective and endpoints. This is, guys, important because if you don't know the objective, you don't know where your data and which data of the whole study is important, which data is critical for this particular study you are working on. So you need to know the protocol you are working on, and especially what your ECRS, what is the visit structure, how many visits are there, how many follow-ups are there, how the safety data is going to be collected. So everything is mentioned in protocol. All right. And further, there is also one document which we are planning to, which is a very core document for data management, data management plan, which we have a special lecture on that because it's a huge document to cover for the data managers, right? So then next would be what tools and system. So what tools and system, like we have EDC system, we have Inform, Rave, Medidata. These are the EDC systems which are usually used. We do have Open Clinica. There are like some softwares which is used by the smaller organizations, SaaS softwares. Then we have eTMF for like Viva Volt, and eTMF itself is a name of a software. So eDoc is a name of an TMF software. So those software, you need to know what your study is going to use to enter the data, collect the data, review the data, and will, for example, the data management will be doing the query raising. So they will be already doing on the database. So you need to know what EDC. So you need to know the EDC if you are not used to how the navigation works. It is very simple. All the software have their help and separate guidelines, how the navigation works and how everything goes on. Okay, and what is the system backup? If something goes wrong, if there is a downtime, then you need to ask the programmers usually figure out these things when the system is downtime, how you need to handle this thing. Okay, so those are the tools. And the study document at the end, when you are working on all these documents during the study trial, how they are archived and decommissioned. Like decommissioning and archive is like usually happens when the archiving happens on the regular basis. And when the study database is logged, there is a special time which is given for archiving and putting into TMF, trial master file, which will go for the submission. So there is special time. There is a file and naming conventions you need to follow and everything. So you need to know when you're preparing a document, it's just like, okay, document 1, document 2, document 3. No, it doesn't go like that. So you need to know what document is what, how it can be named, how it can be versioned. All right. So that those things is necessary. The next thing is compliance. You should know on what SOPs, standard operating procedures, the company is following, the study is going to follow, if sometimes the client has their own SOPs to follow. So you need to know, to be compliant, you should follow the SOPs. There are different guidelines as well, ICH, GCP, ICF, CFR 11, everything, all those we have in the session. They are again a big guidelines. We can go through it during the course. Okay, so the next major part is how the study planning. So is the planning in place if you want to check? So as a data manager, all these things which I have put here, everywhere the data manager is involved. So these are just an over the larger topics which I have. There are small activities within that as well. So obviously you won't be doing in everything every day, but there can be instances where you will be putting into setup study. Then you should know what all happens in the setup, what all activities. You might have one setup study and one conduct study, so you should know how conduct study, what is that. So if you even so remembering all this thing and how it happens, it is different in all the organization. What is important is that you know about that something is there, something about related to that. Okay, there is a specification which is there, but obviously at some organization it will be very organization specific. Okay, so you don't have to stress out now about knowing everything in detail. Okay, I don't know, it is very tedious, very technical. No, you don't have to know, it's very simple. Only these are the global activity words I have put it here, so that when you hear them when you are at work, you can relate. Okay, yeah, we had this during our sessions. Okay, so like earlier I said, the meetings, the testing, edit checks and queries, how you're planning to perform the UAT if it is in any changes are going on, how the edit checks are tested, or queries in conduct when they are raised by their auto queries and manual queries where they are in system of your conduct study. How frequently you will produce a report to check if queries are well. It should not happen you have 500 queries coming in, but you are hardly able to query answer them, only like close them only few queries, very few queries. So you should know if there is more queries coming in, more action is required. How the study status looks like overall status, how is the CRF completion percentage, how the query trending, how the lab data is coming in, and if it is completed appropriately, if the safety data is reconciled on time. So all those things comes, all the study activities come in the study status, which usually happens once in a month, or sometimes in few organization or study, depending on the project, it goes more frequently out to the client. All right, then how the coding is handled in your particular study or organization project you are working on. What are the checklists you perform? So checklist also is a big topic where every activity has a checklist to be performed, which is different for all the organization, but there are some core things which every checklist has. So you have to look into it. But to know when to use which checklist and what activities will be to when to check that checklist for each item, if you perform what activity, that you need to understand, right? So that we are going to again cover checklist part in the sessions. Study setup, which is has a randomization. So here I've listed down like what you need, what DM part. DM will be involved in randomization, system integration, medical coding. Yes, so you might know that your medical coder is there for the medical coding. No, but in some smaller organization, you might also get a chance to do a medical coding if the software is has an access. DM has an access to the software. So if you're good at medical words, medical terms, you might get a chance. I myself, as a junior data analyst, when I joined, I had done medical coding like for 5 years. Like that project was that I was allowing me to do coding, so I got an opportunity to do coding as well as my data management activities. So it's a closely related. It's not like data manager never does the coding thing, because the medical terms come in ADC, you will be able to code them, right? So data validation specification, like where we check the edit checks, which where we define what are the logics involved in, what are the reports you want to check, what are bigger logics like across 2-3 ECRS, what you want to check. So all this is present in data validation specification. Again, that document is a very big document. So each of this I can say part which has individual the specification or a guideline for each of this, which can go in very much detail, which it is good to know if you are working as a data manager, right? So then we have CRF completion guidelines, which is used by the site, but it is created by the data managers, because data managers know well about the electronic data capturing system, right? Then transfer agreement, which is a non-ECRF data, usually samples which are collected by the third party. So there are agreements which is put in place between client and the CRO, or if you're working with the client itself, you might doing with the vendor and the client. So how they will be transferred, what will be the frequency of their they transferred. So knowing all these things, the data manager should be aware how this will take place if you're in the setup study. Because there you can foresee that what will be the frequency, how much data we are expecting, and how the design should look like. So it becomes an easier task when the study goes in conduct. All right. So next, similarly on the conduct, you start from, like, if you put, let's say if you are started with a conduct study. So first of all, they will ask you to give protocol reading. So you understand the protocol, you know the visit structure, everything. Before you start working on the study, you need to complete the mandatory reading of the documents. And then you will be given an access. Okay, within conduct, you might be asked for all these activities like data extraction and data cleaning and critical data review. So critical data review is the one thing which I mentioned, why you need to know objectives and endpoints of the protocol. So those are the data points which go for the statistical analysis. So that becomes a critical process and critical data points that you will be reviewing. Okay, so going back to that, you should know the protocol very well of the study. The standard reports, which how many adverse events we have. There are several medical history and concomitant medications. So some standard reports are globally used by all the studies because they are the basic requirements about like ECG data. It's an for the US, they have this ECG data is a must review to be done. So ECG must be collected. So ECG report is also one of the standard reports in US trials. Okay, coding review is every time coded properly in proper classification. Non-CRF data, like I said, the lab data which you might have set up here, you might be reviewing doing the reconciliation of the lab data and the safety data during the conduct. And the risk assessment. If you see any trends, if you see like in one day over the night when you come back to office and there are like 500, 600 queries, which usually has only 20 to 30 queries. So how that happens? So there is some trend, if there is site is facing any issue or if there is any problem in EDC. So all those things with the trend analysis, you might be able to assess the risk on ongoing trials. No doubt the risk assessment is also done. It's an ongoing document and working document, which starts from the study setup and till it ends till the closeout. All right, next is during the closeout. So as a data manager, a database lock and database unlock. So usually it's a database lock and unlock seems to be very small activity because all this data cleaning activity takes place, the same activities takes place, but they will be the last review, last coding and last cleaning activities. But when it is done, the database lock is very important because there should not happen an unlock without any reason. So lock is a very critical step. So when you review on the monthly basis, as well as when you have the cleaning performed, you should be very critical about what you're doing. So you do not face any difficulties during the database lock. And there is a checklist, where database lock checklist is used most of the most of the organization, which will give you like, okay, what all checks you need to perform, what all activities you need to perform before you give a green light to database lock. Okay. Protocol deviations. So yeah, like most of the protocol deviations. So some deviations you might be identified as a clinical data manager, but some deviations are, there is a different database which is handled for the protocol deviation. Like we have in EDC, CDMS, we have protocol deviation system. Management system as well. So PDMS, sometimes some organization call them. So that's also required. So if you know the protocol, you know why this deviation has happened, how the screen failure are handled. And when you are okay with all these activities, obviously you'll not be doing everything, but whatever you're doing perfect. So you should be, that gives you an, inspection and audit readiness. So this is also an important task with data management point of view, which organization takes care of. So you at an individual, not at an individual level, but it's like, we can say that every activity, every small action makes a big impact. So that's the reason. So if you do the data cleaning well, it will obviously not give any auditor or inspector give a chance to do a finding. So every input from data manager makes a big impact when it comes to an organization inspection and audit readiness. All right. Okay. So So these are like data handling areas. So most of them data handling areas, this all this in collaborators and what we do in setup where the data management. So I have put all the collaborators like clinical programmers, which you need to know, scientists, biostatistician, lead monitors, third party vendors as a data manager. So you need to collaborate with all of them. So that's the reason we as a CDM data manager, it's not only in data entry and review job. We are like CDM is now called an hybrid scheme because we need to touch base all the aspects of the study design, not only with okay, what is happening, just query raising and query solving. No, not only there. So there's a lot of impact which comes out from the data management point of view. And obviously where all the parties, all the stakeholders are involved. All right. So set up, like I mentioned earlier, kickoff meeting and protocol review, the study design and database, data collection methods. What are the different collection methods like EDC and external data, internal data? What are the standards followed by the organization, CDISC and SDTM? We have a special lecture on this because again, this is a very if you want to search, you can go back and check how CDISC and SDTM standards are important as a data manager to look into. So assessing ECRF by anticipating any. So in study metrics, or study status, we know how the ECRF completion is happening. In the conduct, again, the data trends, how the monitoring visits, is there any milestone which is upcoming? If it is going to affect any current activities, are we going to put more resources in that? So all this, how data manager will be able to foresee and require. So as an associate, so depends on which role you are. So not everything you will be handling, but these are the things which usually takes place overall. So when someone is asking, for example, if you're an associate and lead data manager asks you for some data, so if you know all these things, you might be able to quickly connect. Okay, they might be asking a data because this issue came up and it might be identified if you give this data. So you have an idea what kind of data. So it's to be proactive as a data manager as an associate level is also very important, which is also a growth factor in clinical data management. So that's the reason you should know how it goes, how the data flows, and which data reaches to the lead and what happens next. All right. And close out again the final report review, like I just mentioned in the previous slide, that how final report review happens. Clinical data last queries are if there is an issue, how the data is freezed and locking, how the PI signature are handled. So in each of this step, data manager is involved and to achieve the database lock. Okay. Okay, so I just found this one to give you an idea that how now we have so much of data and data management, because if you see starting from 2000 to what they have put it in 2022-23, the data, how many studies, clinical trial are registered. So this is the data from clinicaltrials.gov. You guys can go and check how this site works. They have all the data, all the clinical trials which are studied, and they are registered with them, the outcomes they have registered, the studies which are over. So they have. So if you see, there are like almost 3,99,000. So about 4 lakhs of studies which are already registered with clinicaltrial.gov, and that's the reason we increase in clinical trials registration. We have more of trial data coming in, and so eventually there is no way that data managers will less of data manager will be enough to how many data managers are in market. There will be enough. There will be always a new resource crunch for the data manager with the increase in number of trials. Okay, so this is like many of you have asked last time, like what about freshers? So we had taken a typical organogram, which was an only big titles like from associate level to head of DM. These are the titles which I found out, which is very nice, which is from this acdmglobal.org, which you might see that how many titles we have. So it's not like only after 5 years you get a title change, only after 6 years of experience you get a title change. So it's not like that. So starting from clinical data coordinator, again, if you are fresher, that names, the DM role names, they they are different in all the organizations. So you can just say that associate data manager is associate level as a fresher when you start. and where all opportunity organizations you have a chance to start work with. So usually with this survey which was conducted, the data which was collected by ACDM, I see CRO site and labs, they do need the freshers which will handle the clinical trial data. Moving forward with 1 or 2 years of experience, you might with 1 or 2 years of experience, you might be tagged as data manager 1, 2, and 3, depends on what type of organization or where you are, if the country has those designations. So might happen that every year you get promoted based on your work, and you might reach data management too, even if with 2 years of experience. Okay, so and then we have 2 to 3 years experience, we have one more few more designations. So more you get experience, more you can and more you know. So this, all these things obviously depends on how much you know about data management, how fast you want to grow, how you want to run behind your growth and designation. So there are lots of options for data management. And while you with increase in the scope of getting hired by different organizations also increase. Listen. Okay, so yeah. Data management average salary. So last time we had lots of questions. So I have just put some few information about the average salary, which is not, always would be like, this is the fixed salary you will always have when you start with. But yeah, you just have a tentative idea how, average salary works and how clinical data management you can negotiate on your salary. There are based on your skills and what you learn during your work, as well as what you will have starting from how you crack through your interviews from the start itself as a fresher. It depends. You can negotiate your the interview can go very well if you know you have a good background of the CDM understanding, right? So those things you can negotiate based on this. But this is an idea which this is an from the source which I found to just calculate an yearly average. It might differ to level. It might differ from how much company you might change, organizations you might change, what you are learning during your first 2 years, and how you are upgrading your skills. All things you can expect to change with change in your skill set on clinical data management. All right. Okay, so coming back to the course. So I gave you this background about, we took you through all this data management point of view, how data management is important, how the role is evolving, what are the opportunities, and what is the background, why you have, why it is, good to learn each and every activity and each and every documents which we are providing during this course. The reason why I gave you the background about data management activities, it might be too much for you, but you having a background to know that, okay, fine, yeah, there is so much to know, and you cannot just know just like that reading it. So you might require to interact, you might require a detail with the samples and examples. We might have real life examples we have. So that's the reason I gave you a background. So when I take you through the modules which we are covering, now you will be able to connect how this module is going to make an impact or make your understanding more clear on the clinical data management processes and the roles. All right, so CLIMED is offering, like Dr. Ajit already said, that we will be releasing this brochure, sharing the brochure as well with you guys. So moving forward, I'll just take you through what is the overview of the certification. So what are the key takeaways? So this might be the same for the people who have attended the last webinar. So just for the new people, it's like we have a touch base from basic to intermediate concepts of clinical data management, interactive sessions to enhance the communication and studying the subject, exposure to the latest CDM industry trends, and discuss and decide the career prospects in CDM. Yeah, so we are giving this opportunity to decide and this, we had this question, several questions, like everyone from different background, they are interested, but they are unable to decide that is this see, they can go into CDM and most of them had an answer yes. Obviously the way they should approach it will be different, but yeah, that's what we can discuss. You will have an opportunity if you take this course to speak to us, speak to the experts and clean it and decide if it's CDM is a good, you can take it or not. But Yeah, most of the questions we had, everyone can take a CDM. There is no restrictions about who cannot do clinical data management as a career. Okay, so and obviously you will getting a certificate value at an ECDM certificate, which is only accredited certificate. So what are the contents? The main contents are we have 30 plus hours of modules. We have assessments and quiz. To it's not to judge you or anything. It's this assessments and quiz will clarify you in which area you are doing fine and in which area you need to focus more. So just to test your understanding during the sessions of the modules, we have interactive sessions. Obviously, will be open to question answers. Will be open. You might get an opportunity to act on database while we are the demo database, obviously, while we are doing the trainings. And also there is a lateral skill development which you might perform when you are interacting. You might know with the real-time examples. There are several skills you might already having, but you might know how to use them when you are a clinical data manager. So these are the modules and the brochure which we will be sharing you soon. So these are the modules. So if you see now, we have segregated the modules in like in the basic, like understanding the clinical data management, which we have covered lots of things during the sessions, as well as we still have some things which which we will be covering in initial modules. Also to start before, we will be giving you technical skill, the basic skills about Excel and MS Word, because those are the documents you might be very frequently using during your data management task and activities you are performing. So there are basic Excel formulas you should know, and if you know it, then it's an obviously a proactive thing and which you can do the task without. So you'll be a fast learner in a way. So yeah, all these things why we are covering, because these are the basic things you will be assessed on when you get on work, and when you start to take up your role as a fresher as well as a lead. Sometimes you might get even if you're not data management expert, but you have a different experience in previous different companies, but you might get a lead role. Depends how you crack the interview. So I have examples who have gotten the lead role based on even if they have lab experience before that. Okay, so so those things are important. Then we have segregated into study setup, study conduct, and study setup, and all the how the process flow goes, each document wise, each activity wise, and what all standards are followed globally, and what are the core documents you need to know. We have modules from each and every document to understand how the document looks, how you can understand well. So and also we have assessment quiz after each of them. So it's not in a final assessment will have you won't mix up. So you'll be tested. You can test your knowledge in between when we have quiz and assessment, which will help you through to understand. And if you have any questions, you can come back with the questions during the next module, right? Okay, so study conduct also we have segregated like what all activities, what all documents you need to know. What main study conduct is more of activities and time management, managing the timelines. So what we are doing all the activities in detail, each of them, which are more elaborated activities. We are taking a full one module, like for EDC lab management, we are taking one module on each, because that's a vast, it seems okay, only lab management, but no, there are lots of things which happens in lab management. So you might have to get an opportunity to see. Also study doc interim data for database. So all the cleaning activities, including the study locking checklist and archiving the data. And other activities which you already I took you through the previous slides, what you need to know: project management skills and communications, risk management, and SOPs, and the final assessment. So these are the skills you will learn during the session modules if you get enrolled. So these are the slides from the previous webinar. I just wanted to put it because for the people who are new. And yes, here we go. So thank you. Yeah, we can open up for the question. Hope it was not too much, but like I said, it's basic. I try to provide to let you understand why we have put this elaborated modules in the course launch, and why we are giving this naming this as a comprehensive course. All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Neha. That was really wonderful and very informative as well. So guys, any questions? Now I think we are open for questions. Please ask. Can be relating to the career or the process of CDM itself, or if you have any other related questions, subject related questions as well. Neha, can you answer this? I'm joining one organization as clinical data reviewer. Is my experience count in CDM?
Yes, it's from Avinash Shavan, right?
Yes.
Yes, Avinash. So as a clinical data reviewer, like I said, clinical data management has so many activities. It's not possible you will be given all activities together, or you might have an opportunity to work on all the activities. So clinical data review is an important activity. So yes, it is considered as an clinical data management experience.
Yeah, also on the same line, for some of you who are starting their career as a clinical research coordinator also, I think it is in the same line. They can, move to CDM or CRA if they like it. Yeah, and it will, any experience in clinical research will is a plus point.
Yes.
Yes, next.
Even the lab experience, but even with the lab experience, how you produce yourself, how you portray your knowledge that you have done your homework knowing the clinical data manager and why you want to become a clinical data manager. That's the reason, how all these things well in advance is necessary along with your other experience as well. So you can negotiate that.
Okay, guys. So of course, thank you, Neha. It was a wonderful, webinar again, and very, very informative. It is like something I've learned for the first time. Many things. So Pankaj, can you ask your question? Can you post your question to everyone? You have, I think, posted directly to me. Then we can take some other questions from. Okay, Mr. Soro and Avinash Chavan. We can take some other questions. Neha, can you please? Okay, I'll read for you. Clinical data reviewer as a good future as compared to CDM.
Yes, we just answered that. Yeah, we just answered that question, Dr. Ajit.
Okay.
It is good as a CDM experience.
Yeah, Pankaj. Yeah, I think Pankaj is asking if I have a 1 year experience as medical summarization. Can I enter in CDM?
Okay. Would you want to explain what all activities you have? Even if it is what I will, if it's my understanding, what I'll make you understand that even if you have summarized it's 1 year of experience, you can still enter a CDM. Yes, of course, you can still enter. It's how you connect and how you gain the knowledge of CDM before you go and interview, how much you will be able to answer the basics about, the CDM. This is how you will be able to, irrespective from any experience you go.
Yes, right. Yes, absolutely. Usoro, you can definitely, if you have 3 years of clinical research data coordinator. So yeah, definitely you can enter CDM without any doubt. Especially if you don't like much of traveling or working in the hospital. CDM is like, work from home options are available as well as off work from office is available. Typical IT kind of scenarios, right? Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 kind of scenarios.
Yes, and like one of my slide with from ACDM, which I said, people start with CRC role to enter in, and go to the CDM, which is one of, it's relevant because if you know CRC, there will be a plus on, and plus you will know more, add an additional thing with clinical data management profile. So yeah, with knowledge, so you can definitely move ahead.
Yeah.
Any other questions, guys?
You can speak, guys. You can open your mic and speak to Neha and Dr. Tarun, and you can post also your questions. Please post.
Dr. Ajit, any questions from YouTube?
No questions from YouTube. No questions in YouTube, Tarun.
Okay.
Okay, then if no questions, we can wind up and we can, guys, please stay tuned with us. And we are coming up with a huge discount as, this is our, 3rd year anniversary of Team and Research Solutions. So we'll come up with a good discount for you. Who are willing to join our CDM course, definitely. Okay, so
there is one question, sorry, coming
yes,
up.
Ali, please speak.
Questions.
Type.
Yeah, please, Nurtaz, please you speak or type your question.
Neha, after B Farm, can I join directly as a clinical data manager?
Yes, definitely, Ali. Yes, that's what I did. So BFAM is obviously giving you a good background that from your paramedical background, which you will be able to join as an associate level at clinical data manager. So yeah, you can directly start applying, and I think so BFAM is the field which they consider if you are a pharmacy graduate to
Absolutely.
hire. Yeah, most of the organization will consider. It's not like we also had the biotech student last time, I think so. We also
yes we had.
BFARM is the most closely related. It's not like so biotech student can also go so as BFARM.
Yeah.
And there is one direct question to me from Abhishek, which is like I'm working as a CRC, consider a CDM role. So if you're asking that if CRC is considered as a CDM role, yes, it's a part of CDM role. So that will create a background of clinical data management. At least some part of the clinical research trials you will be knowing as a coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Definitely, you will.
Someone wants to talk.
Someone's mic is on.
I think. Okay, no problem. I put it off. Yeah.
Yes, CRC is a very good place to start. It gives you a comprehensive experience of how the trial is working on the site. So it's a very good place to start, and you can move on to CDM or CRA. It's up to you. Yeah, but it's a good place to start.
Yeah.
But not necessarily directly from BFARM also you can get into the CDM role as a fresher, right? Okay. As Avinash Chavan is again asking, is BFARM sufficient and master is required to get a good position? No, I would say no. See, even if you're MFARM or you're a BFARM, when you're getting into a job, they look at your related experience. If you have like someone is doing CRC, they would prefer more rather than an MFARM. So it really doesn't matter. So a fresher is a fresher and an experienced person is always valued in a related field. Okay.
Yes, but yeah, I mean, for Avinash's question, I would say that yeah, in my if I give you my example, by BFARM plus a certification, that will give you a good background about starting with. So it's not necessary you have to do master to start a CDM or good position in the organization. They will be considered, even if you're master, they will be obviously not, you are not experienced in CDM, so they will consider in the lowest position they have. So start with the associate position. So it's
absolutely related experience or certifications. All these things will definitely give you an edge over the others. Right?
Yes, definitely. So there is one direct question, one more question, direct question from Abhishek, which is saying, but CDM freshers have very less openings. So it's not like we have very less openings. I don't see, we have lots of openings coming in. You have to continuously keep in touch, because yeah, sometimes you might be able to find, they take time. For freshers, usually they have lots of resume screening happening, so they might not revert you immediately, but because of they are freshers, they have lots of, obviously like you said, lots of freshers are applying for CDM jobs because of the scope we have in CDM to grow in CDM. So it's not like we have less openings. Openings is, I think so, more than ever now these days for CDM.
Yes, especially post-COVID, the demand is more, and it's increasing day by day, both in India and abroad. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so someone has posted one question here. Okay, I don't know what is this. You can ask, Abid, you can ask your question directly. You can open your mic. Abid Sheikh, you can ask your question directly. You can speak to Neha.
Hello, hi, good evening.
Hi, Abhay.
Yes, I am trying to for this position CDM, but at least since 8 months. But my dream job is CDM, but I don't know when. Why don't no one can consider at least a reply? Even I am sharing; those are preparing lots of CV changes,
Mhm.
but it is mandatory to training certification.
Yeah. So Abid,
Yes. So, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Please
we'll
tell.
we will deal with you. You can call us personally. We'll look at your resume and where you're going wrong. If you're like trying for fresher, there are few things that minor changes can really make a huge difference. So you can always contact us and we'll work with you and see where the things can be improved. Definitely certification or a bit of relevant experience gives you edge, because it's, yeah, definitely. See, there is competition. To be honest, I can't lie about that. But yes, a bit of changes, bit of you have to show that relevant experience or certifications that I know these things. So that will obviously give you a bit of edge. So you can always contact us and we'll see where some corrections or improvements can be made.
You can contact Dr. Tarun Abid.
Okay, fine, sure.
Thank you, Abid. That's the question.
And yes, you guys will get certificate. Whoever have registered and attended the first webinar also will get the certificate for this. Okay, so if no more questions, then we can take off, and you guys can go through our full brochure. And we are starting this course on 28th of August. So still time is there to register. The last date of register is some more time is there, and we are coming up with a good offer. So just wait for 1 or 2 days. We will be declaring the offer. We'll be announcing the offer, and you can register. Okay, so someone is asking when we'll get the certificate. You will get the certificate within 3 to 4 days. Within 3 to 4 days, you will get all your certificates in your emails. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Neha, for the wonderful session again.
Thank you, Dr. Ajit. Thank you, Tarun.
Thank you, everyone. Take care and good night. Good night, guys. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Take care.